heart of ancient Babylon, around the year 600 BC, there stood a marvel of architecture that would become known throughout the ages as the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. This grand construction was born out of the deep love of King Nebuchadnezzar II for his queen, Amytis of Media. Nebuchadnezzar, having brought the powerful kingdoms of Babylon and Media together under his rule through conquest, returned home with Amytis as his bride. However, Amytis longed for the mountainous landscapes of her homeland, where the rolling hills and vibrant greenery filled the air with the fragrance of blooming plants. Babylon, by contrast, was a vast and flat plain, lacking the natural beauty that Amytis missed so dearly. Recognizing his queen's sorrowful yearning for the sights of her homeland, Nebuchadnezzar set into motion one of the most extraordinary feats of engineering the ancient world had ever seen. He commissioned the creation of a monumental stepped pyramid, supported by towering columns and adorned with terraces overflowing with an incredible variety of plants from all corners of the known world. Fruit-bearing trees and vibrant flowers, flourishing in a stunning array of colors, transformed the dry, plain landscape of Babylon into an awe-inspiring garden. Visitors from across the empire and beyond were captivated by the sight of this paradise, crafted by human hands in the midst of a desert. Amytis, gazing upon the lush terraces of the gardens, would have felt the essence of her homeland brought to life in the midst of Babylon. Such an ambitious project was only possible because of the immense wealth of Babylon, the richest and most powerful nation of its time. Although the magnificence of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon has been recorded in numerous historical texts, its actual existence remains a subject of debate. The absence of Babylonian records and significant archaeological evidence has led some to question whether this grand structure ever stood at all. Yet, even without definitive proof, the legend of the Hanging Gardens endures, a symbol of love, power, and the glory of ancient Babylon. It is said that the gardens met their fate at the hands of natural disasters, most likely devastating earthquakes, but their story lives on, woven into the fabric of history. The supreme deity of Greek mythology, Zeus, had always been revered by the Greek people. Numerous temples were built in his honor, but none was as awe-inspiring as the one at Olympia, where his magnificent statue stood. This grand statue, depicting Zeus seated on his throne, reached an astounding height of over 13 meters. The colossal figure was made of ebony, gold, and ivory, adorned with glittering gems that enhanced its divine presence. Phidias, a masterful sculptor from ancient Greece, was the genius behind this awe-inspiring creation. His work also extended to crafting another monumental statue, that of Athena, which stood proudly in the Acropolis of Athens near the Parthenon. Zeus's statue in Olympia depicted the god holding the figure of Nike, the goddess of victory, in one hand, and in the other, a scepter topped with an eagle, the bird sacred to Zeus. The temple housing this statue became one of the most important pilgrimage sites in Greece. Worshippers traveled from all corners of the Hellenic world to pay homage to the king of the gods and to partake in the festivities held in his honor. The site also attracted thousands of visitors during the Olympic Games, which were held at the same time as religious ceremonies dedicated to Zeus. When Greece came under Roman rule, Emperor Caligula, with his boundless ambition, ordered that the statue of Zeus be dismantled and brought to Rome. His plan was to replace Zeus's head with a likeness of his own, but fate intervened before this act of hubris could be carried out. Caligula was assassinated, leaving the statue unharmed. As time passed and Christianity gained prominence in the Roman Empire, the worship of Zeus and the festivals dedicated to him gradually diminished in importance. By the end of the 4th century CE, Emperor Theodosius had declared Christianity the empire's official religion, and pagan practices, including the worship of Zeus, were outlawed. The sanctuary at Olympia fell into ruin, and the fate of Zeus's statue became a mystery. Some believe it was transported to Constantinople, where it was later destroyed in a fire, while others speculate that it was looted and its riches plundered. Despite its disappearance, the statue of Zeus at Olympia left an indelible mark on history. It inspired countless other sculptures of Jupiter, Zeus's Roman counterpart, but none could match the grandeur and majesty of the original. The legacy of this colossal statue endures as a testament to the artistic and religious achievements of the ancient Greeks. The Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, regarded as the largest temple of the ancient world, was another of the 7 wonders. Artemis, the goddess associated with the hunt, wildlife, and the moon, held a central place in the hearts of the Greek people. While temples dedicated to her were widespread throughout the Hellenic world, none compared to the grandeur of her temple in Ephesus. This city, located in Asia Minor, which today is part of modern Turkey, boasted one of the most prosperous seaports of antiquity. The site on which the temple was built had been considered sacred for centuries, with older temples standing there long before the construction of the wonder that would become legendary. One of the original temples was said to have been founded by the fierce Amazons, honoring Artemis as their patron goddess. However, it wasn't until 550 BC that the monumental temple, destined to be one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, began to take shape. The project took a decade to complete, and the temple that rose from the earth was an architectural masterpiece. Constructed entirely of gleaming white marble and adorned with precious metals, it stretched 113 meters in length, 43 meters in width, and stood 13 meters high, dwarfing everything around it. The Temple of Artemis became a pilgrimage site for worshippers from far and wide. People traveled to Ephesus not only to pay homage to the goddess, but also to marvel at the sheer scale and beauty of the temple, which attracted tourists from every corner of the ancient world. However, its glory was not to last forever. In 356 BC, a man with an overwhelming desire to leave his mark on history set the temple ablaze in a premeditated act of arson. The magistrates of Ephesus, horrified by the crime, decreed that his name would be erased from history, a punishment meant to deny him the infamy he craved. Although history has preserved his identity, I shall refrain from mentioning it here, refusing to grant his vile act any further notoriety. Legend has it that the fire occurred because Artemis had turned her attention to Macedonia on the very day of the arson, for it was the day Alexander the Great was born. In later years, when Alexander ascended to power, he offered to finance the rebuilding of the temple in honor of the goddess. The Temple of Artemis rose again from the ashes and stood for many more centuries. Despite enduring the flames of destruction once, the temple could not withstand the tide of change brought by the rise of Christianity. By the 4th century CE, with Christianity firmly established as the state religion of the Roman Empire, pagan temples fell out of favor, and the Temple of Artemis was eventually abandoned. Its fate, like that of many ancient wonders, remains unclear, but it is known that some of the marble from the temple was used in the construction of the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople. Though lost to the sands of time, the Temple of Artemis in Ephesus left an indelible legacy. Antipater of Sidon, who is often credited with creating the list of the 7 wonders, famously declared that all other wonders paled in comparison to the majesty of Artemis's temple. Among the wonders of the ancient world, the mausoleum at Halicarnassus remains one of the least well known, yet it stands as a testament to the grandeur of the ancient world's architectural achievements. Situated in the city of Halicarnassus, which served as the capital of the kingdom of Caria, a satrapy of the Persian Empire, this mausoleum was constructed around 353 BC to house the tomb of King Mausolus, the ruler of Caria. Mausolus, an ambitious and powerful leader, sought to create a monument that would stand as an eternal reminder of his reign, and so he ordered the construction of the Grand Mausoleum, a structure that would later give its name to all such monumental tombs. Even though Mausolus passed away in the first year of construction, his devoted wife, Artemisia, ensured that the project continued in his honor. She enlisted the finest architects, sculptors, and artisans from across Greece to bring the vision of the mausoleum to life. The monument was built on a hill overlooking the city, standing an impressive 45 meters tall and made from pure white marble. The walls of the mausoleum were richly decorated with detailed sculptures and friezes, depicting scenes of battle and mythology, such as the Centauromachi, the legendary fight between the Lapiths and the Centaurs, and the Amazonomachi, the war between Theseus, the king of Athens, and the Amazons. At the very top of the mausoleum stood a massive chariot drawn by 4 horses and driven by statues of Mausolus and Artemisia themselves, standing proudly as if overseeing their eternal resting place. Beneath the monument, an underground burial chamber was constructed to house the remains of Mausolus and Artemisia, along with their precious belongings and treasures. The chamber was sealed to protect against tomb raiders, safeguarding the remains of the Carian king and queen. For centuries, the mausoleum stood as one of the most admired sights of the ancient world, drawing travelers and historians alike to Halicarnassus. Unfortunately, like many of the great wonders of the world, the mausoleum at Halicarnassus did not survive the ravages of time. More than 1,000 years after its completion, a devastating earthquake reduced much of the structure to rubble. When the Crusaders arrived in the area during the 15th century, they used the ruins of the mausoleum to reinforce the walls of the nearby Bodrum Castle, sealing the fate of this magnificent monument. Yet, even in its destruction, the mausoleum remains a symbol of both the architectural ingenuity and the desire for immortality that drove the ancient world. Today, visitors can still explore the archaeological site of Halicarnassus, where the ruins of the once great mausoleum lie scattered, a silent testament to the power and ambition of a long-lost kingdom. Among the many cities established by Alexander the Great, none is more famous than Alexandria in Egypt. This city, strategically located at the mouth of the Nile River, became one of the most influential cultural and intellectual centers of the ancient world. The city of Alexandria flourished into one of the most prosperous metropolises of the ancient Mediterranean, with its harbor becoming a critical nexus for global trade. After the untimely death of Alexander the Great, his vast empire was divided among his generals, and Egypt fell under the rule of Ptolemy I, one of Alexander's most trusted commanders. Ptolemy established a new dynasty, taking on the mantle of an Egyptian pharaoh. In his quest to solidify Alexandria's prestige and importance, Ptolemy initiated the construction of a monumental lighthouse on the small island of Pharos just off the coast. This incredible structure, later hailed as the Lighthouse of Alexandria, stood as one of the most renowned feats of engineering from antiquity and was listed among the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Towering at an astonishing height of 130 meters, an architectural marvel for its time, it dominated the landscape and served as a beacon for sailors navigating the treacherous waters surrounding the city. Crafted from gleaming blocks of white granite and marble, the lighthouse took 12 years to complete. At its summit, an eternal fire burned day and night, guiding ships safely to Alexandria's bustling port, with its light visible for more than 40 kilometers away. A statue of Poseidon, the god of the seas and patron of sailors, was perched atop the tower, further emphasizing the lighthouse's significance for the maritime community. The Lighthouse of Alexandria stood proudly for over a millennium, witnessing the reigns of the Greek, Roman, and later Arab rulers of the city. However, a series of powerful earthquakes over the centuries weakened its structure, and by 1480 it had collapsed entirely. Recognizing the strategic position of the island, the Sultan at the time constructed a formidable fortress on the ruins of the lighthouse to defend Alexandria's port. In 1994, marine archaeologists made a remarkable discovery when they unearthed the submerged remnants of the lighthouse off the coast of Pharos. In 2015, the Egyptian government unveiled plans to reconstruct the iconic structure, hoping to revive Alexandria's historical grandeur and bolster tourism. The Colossus of Rhodes, another of the ancient world's wonders, was a massive bronze statue that stood near the entrance to the harbor of Rhodes. The statue depicted the Titan Helios, the sun god, who was revered as the island's protector and divine patron. The construction of this awe-inspiring monument came in the aftermath of a major military victory. The citizens of Rhodes had successfully resisted a siege by Macedonian forces who sought to subjugate the island. The Macedonians invested vast resources into the siege, but with assistance from Ptolemy I of Egypt, the Rhodians held firm and repelled their attackers. As the Macedonians fled, they abandoned an immense stockpile of siege equipment, which the Rhodians quickly sold off. The profits were then used to commission the construction of the Colossus, a statue meant to commemorate their victory and honor Helios. In 292 BC, construction began on this massive monument. The statue stood on a 15-meter-high marble pedestal, and its frame was built from a combination of stone, iron, and bronze, much of which had been repurposed from the weapons and armor left behind by the defeated Macedonian army. After 12 years of labor, the Colossus of Rhodes was finally completed, towering over the harbor at an impressive 30 meters. Sailors arriving from distant lands were left speechless as they approached the island, awed by the sheer size and craftsmanship of the statue. Despite its grandeur, the Colossus did not stand for long. In 226 BC, a devastating earthquake shook Rhodes, toppling the giant statue. The wreckage of the Colossus lay where it had fallen for centuries, with visitors flocking to Rhodes to see the remains of the once great monument. In 653 AD, when the island came under Arab control, the remnants of the Colossus were dismantled and sold off as scrap metal. Though the statue itself has long since vanished, its legend endures. Like the Lighthouse of Alexandria, there are ongoing efforts to resurrect the Colossus of Rhodes. Plans envision a new statue, far grander than the original, standing between 120 and 150 meters tall and costing upwards of $300 million. If completed, This modern colossus will be a fitting tribute to the ancient wonder, capturing the same awe and wonder that its predecessor inspired. The Pyramids of Giza, the last of the 7 wonders still standing, remain a source of endless fascination and mystery. Situated near the modern city of Cairo, on the western bank of the Nile River, the pyramids have dominated the landscape for millennia. The Giza Plateau is home to many ancient monuments, but none are as iconic as the 3 Great Pyramids: the Pyramid of Khufu, also known as the Great Pyramid, the Pyramid of Khafre, and the Pyramid of Menkaure. Of these, the Pyramid of Khufu is the largest, standing at an original height of 146 meters, although it has slightly diminished over time due to erosion. The Pyramid of Khafre, while slightly shorter at 143 meters, appears taller due to its position on higher ground. The smallest of the 3, the Pyramid of Menkaure, stands at 66 meters. These colossal tombs were constructed around 2500 BC as eternal resting places for the pharaohs of Egypt. The scale of the construction was unprecedented, with the Great Pyramid alone requiring over 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing an average of 2 tons. Contrary to popular belief, the labor force that built these wonders was not made up of slaves, but rather skilled workers, artisans, architects, and laborers who were likely paid for their efforts. The workforce numbered in the tens of thousands, and it took over 20 years to complete the construction of the Great Pyramid. The pyramids were built from 4 types of stone: alabaster, basalt, granite, and limestone, with much of the material quarried from distant sites and transported via the Nile River. How the ancient Egyptians managed to construct these monumental structures with the technology available to them remains a topic of debate and speculation. Some propose elaborate systems of ramps and levers, while others suggest more far-fetched theories, such as extraterrestrial assistance, though these ideas undermine the ingenuity of the Egyptian builders. Originally, the pyramids were covered in polished limestone, which gave them a brilliant white sheen that reflected the sunlight, making them visible from miles away. Over the centuries, this outer layer was stripped away for other construction projects, leaving the pyramids with their current, weathered appearance. The treasures that were once entombed with the pharaohs have long since vanished, likely stolen by grave robbers in antiquity. However, the pyramids themselves remain, a testament to the incredible achievements of ancient Egypt. Guarding the pyramids is the Great Sphinx, a massive limestone statue with the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh, believed to represent Khafre. This iconic monument has stood sentinel over the Giza Plateau for thousands of years, surviving attempts at destruction, most notably by the son of Sultan Saladin in the 12th century, who sought to dismantle the pyramids due to their association with pagan beliefs. Of all the 7 wonders, the Pyramids of Giza are the only ones that still stand today. They continue to draw visitors from around the world, a symbol of Egypt's ancient past and a reminder of the endurance of human achievement. As an old Arab proverb states, "Man fears time, but time fears the pyramids."